All right, speaking of styles, that takes us over the X Division, where we'll talk about AJ Styles and Kid Kash, which was the main event of the first pay-per-view of the month. They wrestled.
They did.
It was a decent little match.
It was alright. I mean, like, these two have like a bare minimum, and they can hit that and still do alright, so...
Well, speaking of hitting it, Cash went for his coast-to-coast dropkick and came up just short. It was rather embarrassing. Styles won with a discus lariat, which is unusual.
I like it, though. I like when he busts out the discus. It's he's a deceptively hard hitter, too.
Yeah, good discus lariat on the man, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's a good wrestler. This AJ.
He does occasionally pick up wins with it, too, so...
So after the match, Dallas attacks. Lynn and Sabin tried to make the save. Then all the X Division guys ran out because Vince Russo has decided that you cannot have co-champions. It's ridiculous. But also, Frankie and Michael Shane have insisted they will not wrestle each other. They wrestled, say, Lynn and Chris Sabin in the show. Lynn hit Tracy with an air raid crash, but a super kick to Sabin, followed by a roll-up with Kaz, gave Cesarian the win. They will not wrestle each other, Liam. They are men of noble integrity and intent. So Vince Russo has a different suggestion that on the August 11th weekly pay-per-view, there will be a open invitational, ultimately 22-man gauntlet match to decide the X Division title, where one of Cesarian will enter first, one will enter last. Frankie entered first, Shane entered last. And it will be an X Division title match with 22 people in it.
I like the touch of having them separate, like, be the furthest points from each other, because it, like, encourages them not to work together. It's a good little...
It's Vince Russo trying to push them apart, Liam.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know, they're heels. We should be rooting for that, I guess.
So there was another little layer going into this match where earlier in the show, AJ took a pounce from Monty. So AJ was selling that he took a pounce.
Yeah, AJ, he took that pounce.
It's like literally you could see it coming because he like Monty was lining up the pounce, and I like listened to the watch along. I'm like, ooh, oh no, we didn't do a watch along. We watched this together, but we didn't do a watch along for it. But I was super excited that AJ
That was just for us,
just personal content. That AJ was about to take a pounce, and yeah, he took like the inside out bump, and it looked great. Oh, AJ, I love the man. So the main event of that pay-per-view, 22-man gauntlet. Frankie and Sanjay started. Then you had Chad Collier, LA Park, Miyamoto. I won't go through eliminations, who cares? Jerry Lynn, Joey Matthews, Nasawa, Styles came out. Lynn was carried off injured, actually, which might be an interesting thing to keep track of. I don't think we see Lynn again for a year after this. I think this might be the last we see of Lynn for a while.
Nasawa surprisingly over at this point, too.
So, sure.
I mean, like, he's getting reactions because he's been around long enough now.
Chris Vaughn came out, PD, D-Ray came out, and he was given the bushwhacker treatment where he was thrown straight out. Mikey Batts, Jason Cross, Jarrell Clark, Kid Kash, Nigel McGuinness making his TNA wrestling debut. A man in the news.
How appropriate!
We once again manifested news by having Nigel McGuinness debut the month where he's released from WWE.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see Nigel in a next open invitational gauntlet for the X Division title.
He doesn't really do much here. He doesn't really have a chance to look good in the gauntlet with 22 other guys.
Especially, like... Nigel of 2004 is not Nigel of 2007, you know?
Yeah.
Who could make this work by just hitting a bunch of dudes really hard. He's going to come in here and do, like, his technical grabs, and it's not going to get over.
Yeah, he does, like, the nice little hammerlock DDT, but that's not going to blow the socks off anybody. Psychosis, Shark Boy was in the match, Chris Sabin, Amazing Red, and Michael Shane rounded things out. Shane super kicked Psychosis out, Kaz pump kicked Sabin out, Red ran at Sabin out, Red ran at Shane out. Shane and Sabin will be the death of me. Those two men, they should not be put in the same match.
You should be begging for Matt Bentley.
Red had the so then Red dumped Frankie out. So it was PD and Red, pinfall submission. New X Division champion is one of those men. Red had the pin with the Red Star Press, but Rude came out to distract the ref. D'Amore creamed Red with a hockey stick, allowing PD to win the X Division title with a Canadian Destroyer. Your new X Division champion is PD Williams.
Feels right.
It does feel right, doesn't it? It is a good choice. He's improved. It's a fresh face in the X Division, and I think that they've been pretty good through the history of the X Division of going with new guys. Like last year, it was very much a Frankie and Shane and Sabin year. Now it's PD's turn.
Yeah, which, you know, heading into the good era of TNA is fun. So he'll get a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, PD being the X-Champ heading into the pay-per-view here is an interesting choice. I would have thought, like, oh, we're going into pay-per-views, it has to be AJ now.
But, I don't know. I feel like PD's been built up well enough for this role, too.
Chavo Guerrero Sr. was scheduled to work the gauntlet match, but he contacted the company on the day of the show and gave them several excuses why he couldn't appear. They didn't buy his excuses, and it's doubtful he will be invited back.
Ooh, Chavo.
Also, wrestlers were mad because they were given the order of entry and the order of elimination, and then nothing else.
Just call it in the ring, brother.
And Jerry Lynn was the agent. He's just like, put the whole thing together, I guess. There's no other stories in this match. It's just guys come out, do moves, get eliminated.
That's really funny.
Which, you know what? It's probably worse ways to do a match like this.
I don't know. It seems like hell to try and work that out.
Like a 22-man gauntlet just seems like chaos, and there's a reason that ultimately a lot of them end up descending into like just aimless brawling in the corner, waiting for the next person to come out, because it's really hard to put all that stuff together and time it really well.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like an unenviable task.
There you go.
To book a match like that.
So the Styles Cash story continued on to the next pay-per-view, in which they had a street fight, and I don't think this was a great match. And I'm not even sure it was a good match. But it felt like two men who legit hated each other.
Yeah.
Like, there was a kind of crowd brawling here that's not the Jeff Jarrett walk-in brawl. It was like, oh, these men don't like each other. And they don't, by all accounts. Like, Kid Kash, they do a bunch of work shoot stuff where Kid Kash is openly moaning backstage about AJ gets the push I don't get, and he ruined my opportunities. And then it turns out that's the same promo he cuts on the show, so you can say they're doing nonsense.
And there's more backstage stuff with Cash throughout the month too. So it's like, he's clearly still whining about like not getting the raise and making the money and whatever. So, like, he probably, like, when you're AJ and you're openly being mocked by the guy, you're probably like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah, because this was like, come dressed as you are. They wore the jeans, though, to refer to Cash. He put the knee pads over the jeans, which is an aesthetic I will always approve of. Yeah, this match, I said, I don't think it was good. They did like a fall off a balcony that looked great, because it looked like they fought and fell off a balcony rather than they were doing a pro wrestling spot. Like, there was a realism to this street fight that, while it didn't ultimately make a great match, it made like for a more compelling street fight.
Yeah, it was alright. I thought it was... listen, it was alright, and that means it was better than most things.
Yeah, and by that, I mean, I think I gave it 3 and you gave it 2 3/4, so... No, we both gave it 2 3/4,
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Still like the 4th best match of the month.
Yeah, but it's an interesting kind of street fight. There you go. We talked about all the other AJ Cash stuff. They spin off here into the 6-man tag, teaming with Monty against Styles, Killings, and Hardy to end the month. Good little match.
I will admit that this feels bigger than the X Division, at least.
Yeah, because you have, like, PD as champion after that. He does a squash on Impact. They crown a new contender. It's Sanjay Dutt defeats Chris Sabin, Joy Matthews, and Jason Cross to get he'll get the first shot of September. So Sanjay will be PD's first contender.
Which, that should be fun, at least. Sanjay's coming off of the big match with the Raven, so...
Yeah, we're getting a little Sanjay push here. We'll talk about that in the best of the rest. That's more or less the X Division.
Not an awful X Division month. Not a super exciting one either.
It's at least one of the few divisions where things happened.
Yeah, the X Division is, like, I say all that, and it's probably still like the 3rd best thing going on at the moment, so...
You had the co-champ story, you had the gauntlet, you had the Styles and Cash stuff. It's at least... And Styles and Cash actually wrestled each other a couple times this month, as opposed to just doing the same angle.